So here I am again with another video to liberate your mind, and this video is going to be all about social media. And the reason I'm doing this is because I saw a documentary the other night on Netflix, and it was called The Social Dilemma. Now, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I highly recommend if you haven't. It was very eye-opening, a little bit frightening, not going to lie, but definitely something that we should all be aware of. Now, for those of you that aren't going to watch that, carry on watching this because I'm going to go through some of the main points. But if you don't want me to spoil it, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot more to it than what I'm about to say now, but I'm going to be going into some of the details now. So basically, what the premise is you've got a lot of the top guys from all of the social media sites, even like Google, YouTube, Twitter, just all of the top brands. And it was a handful of experts who had left the industry, or certainly left those companies, because even though they were key players, some of them were CEOs, I think, was because they didn't agree with the way things were going. Because what they'd realized is they'd kind of made a bit of a monster. And this isn't exclusive to any one of these Silicon Valley companies. It really is across the board. And they really put things into perspective. And so I want to talk a little bit about that now. So when you think about social media from a business perspective, most people think of things like advertising and things like that, but actually the currency that they are looking to harvest is your attention, okay? Because attention is everything. And when I say that, I don't just mean on social media. I mean, where we put our attention is where all of our energy goes. It's where all our focus is. And any one of you will know that if you can hijack someone's attention, you've basically hijacked them. So the main thing to make you aware of now is that these social media platforms are designed to grab your attention and to hold your attention as much as possible. And so what they're designed to do is learn about you, learn about your habits, so that it can actually purposely become more and more addictive. And you will have heard like older generation people saying you're always on your phone, and it's almost a bit of a running joke. But once you kind of watch this documentary, you realize just what's going on here. And that is that we're being hijacked. And what was really interesting was that even these experts said that they fall for their own traps. Like, they know what it does, they know how it's being done, and yet they can't help looking at it too. They actually have to put very clear things in place to stop them falling down into that rabbit hole. So that's something to think about. So let's go through some of the points here about what it's doing, right? So we've talked about it's hijacking your attention, and it's learning. It's learning about you. It's learning about what you're into. It's learning about what you care about. It's learning what is going to hold your attention the longest. And it does that by watching how you interact. So not only will it see about how you comment, how you, and this isn't human beings watching you, this is an algorithm, this is AI, this is, people worry about AI, it's here already, and it's been here for a while, and it's getting more and more smart. So, and even the people that have designed it don't really know how it works at that level. They just kind of put it into place, and it just takes on a life of its own. So it's learning about what you comment on, it's learning about what you're scrolling and what you stop at, and how long you stop and watch that thing. And if you then like it, or which emoji you put next to it. And it's learning that. It will then recommend things. And if you click on that recommendation, it goes, interesting, okay, so that's something I can hook you in on. And eventually, it's almost like it's building up a avatar of your personality and your likes and dislikes. And the idea is the more it gets to know who you are, the more it can suck you in because it knows exactly what to show you and what not to show you. So it just gives you a sense of it. And also it can warp your sense of reality. And what I mean by that is it wants to hold your attention, and therefore it will only show you things that match with your likes and preferences. And therefore it creates this reality, this world. So have you ever heard that expression where some friends don't see what you're doing, even though you're friends with all these people? You only seem to have a selection of people that seem to be commenting and seeing all of your stuff, or the people it suggests, or the places it suggests, or the videos it suggests. Basically, and this happened to me. I remember I think there was an election going on or something like that, and from what I was looking at every day, I was in my mind, I was like, there is no way it could go any other way but this. And then on the day, it went completely the other way. And I was like, how could this happen? And the truth is, it's because I was being shown it's almost like a reality that was designed for me, to make me feel good, to keep my attention coming back to this and make me feel like I really like this, things are going well. And it kind of is a really big eye-opener when you realize that you're only being shown what it knows you want to see, rather than a cross-section of different points of view and something that's giving you more of an actual idea of a balanced opinion and what's actually going on out there. If you're only seeing it from one point of view, then you're kind of lost in a sense. You haven't got a sense of the truth. And that brings me on to the next point, which is that what is the truth? And there's this phrase going around, fake news, and lots of conspiracies right now, and all of this kind of stuff. And it really makes you think, because it's kind of now got to a point where you can't trust what you're seeing and who's putting it out there, and whether it's been something that's actually designed to create a narrative to get you to buy into it. So again, it's you've got to be very, very conscious and discerning about what you're watching, and not just share everything before you've looked into it or done any kind of research. And I don't mean Google it, right? Because Google is very much part of this. You want to look at some sites that necessarily aren't part of that particular group, because they're all run by that people have an agenda. Again, it's turning into, like, the fact that they're fact checking and they are saying what can and can't be put on there means that they're no longer just a place where you can put content. They are actually editing it. So that's something to think about. Also, it's what it does to us. Now, this is when it starts to get a bit serious, okay? So in terms of a mental health, which obviously I'm very interested in because of what I do for a living, this is the sad bit, right? The fact that it is actually impacting young people in such a strong way that most people haven't even got a clue about, right? There's peer pressure from children to have phones, and they then put pressure on their parents. And because most parents give in, then it becomes the norm for a child to have a smartphone, because they don't want them to get left behind, or they don't want them to be unpopular in the groups. They want them to be happy, right? But it's dangerous, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I knew it probably wasn't healthy, but now I realize just how unhealthy. So let me give you a few statistics here, okay? Since the boom of things like social media, Snapchat, all of these, TikTok, all of these, back in 2009, there's a graph actually on my Facebook page where it was going up, but it was kind of not really a steep curve until it got to 2009, and then it sort of boomed. Now, what this statistic shows is the suicide rate for young people, and it split it into two brackets. It split it into the 10 to 14-year-olds and the 15 to 19-year-olds. And since 2009 to now, it's increased for the 15 to 19-year-olds by 70%. And if you think that's bad, the younger kids, 10 to 14, girls, watching social media and being addicted to that, the suicide rate has gone up 151%. That is crazy. and no one's talking about it because it's the norm. And we give our phones to kids to shut them up, right? To keep them quiet, to make sure they fit in. And these experts were saying they do not allow their children to have Facebook and apps like that. They might give them a phone, but they will make sure that that phone is not allowed in the bedroom after a certain time in the evening. They monitor how long they're on the phone, what they're watching, because it is actually dangerous. It affects our self-esteem. Because think about it, back in the day, if you were being bullied or whatever, you just had to make it home. But now you're taking the bullies into your home with you. And it's not even just that. It's the pressure with all these filters and softwares that allow people to make themselves look perfect, and if they don't look perfect or get the perfect selfie, then they get teased or they bullied, or they don't look like this unachievable perception of what a woman should look like, and therefore they feel like they're not enough, and that is a slippery slope until eventually it seems a very, very high statistic of people see that there is no way out, and it's all based on something that is not real, an expectation that is unachievable. It's dangerous. So, and think about it, right? People, we've all done this where we're on our phones and we look up and an hour's gone by, and we're like, how did that happen? Like, it makes people lethargic because, again, it's designed to hold your attention. So what's the first thing that people do when they're waiting for someone, or they're bored, or someone leaves the table at the restaurant, or whatever it is? They're there, right? It's even designed, like, think about it. It's an anchor, right? When you hear that vibration, or you hear that ringtone, or you hear that beep, it sends a dopamine rush through your body, and you're there, you're grabbing it. If you're really unconscious and addicted, you do it in mid-conversation. I know people that have actually answered a phone mid-conversation with me, or they've done it in a meeting or places like that, or they just can't not answer it because they have that kind of that draw to it. Every single aspect of your phone has been carefully designed. Even the scrolling action is designed to condition you into associating that with a pleasurable experience. This is why social dating on these apps is so addictive, is because people always feel like, what if I'm missing out? It's that FOMO, it's that fear of missing out on the next big thing. So people are really they have a little conversation and they're on to the next one. There's no connection, there's no staying power. So I hope I've kind of woken you up a little bit. So I'm just going to go through some little tips that you can do here that will help, hopefully kind of make you not get so pulled into your phone. So do not click on any recommended things, right? When it recommends things to you, it learns a lot quicker if you click on those, right? It builds an idea of who you are and what's going on. Do not have your phone in the bedroom with you at night. Turn it off, or at least have it outside the bedroom so you have to work to go and get it. Don't have certain apps on your phone. If you want to check Facebook and keep on Facebook, fine. This is what I've done, is I've taken the app off my phone. I check it a couple of times a day at the beginning and the end, but I don't have it there. Or I'll turn off the notifications. Okay, if you don't want to take the app off, just turn off the notifications so it's not beeping at you all the time and pulling you into the phone. Don't use those extra emojis. Just use the like button. Don't go into that specific detail, because again, it learns really quickly if you use those specific angry, sad, happy, and all the rest of it. Take regular breaks. Like, literally, if you're going to go out for a walk like I am in a minute, don't take your phone with you, right? You're not going to miss anything for an hour or half an hour, whatever it is. Just have a break and then come back to it. Yeah, when you're out, when you're socializing, when you're at the dinner table, when you're out for dinner, turn the phone off, right? Again, even if there would be an emergency, you can turn it back on after the dinner, right? There's nothing that you're going to be able to solve instantly. It's highly unlikely. So the fact that you need to have it on constantly and you can't actually engage with somebody because we're losing connection with people. Isn't the saddest picture, I think, and I've seen this a few times, is in modern day life when you've got a couple sitting on a couch, faced at their phones, away from each other, with the TV on in the background. Like, it's like they're there, but they're not there. They're together, but they're not connected. And it's got to stop. It is not healthy. We need to get control back of our attention, because it's the knock-on effect as well. It's the mental health aspects. Think about it like this. I know people that need likes in order to boost their self-esteem, right? If they put a post out that they're really excited about and no one comments on it, it hits them hard, right? They need that as a way of validating themselves. We have become reliant on technology, and we've lost all sense of, I don't know, like reality. So I'm stepping away from it more and more. I tell you what, if I wasn't using this for business, I would just delete it all. But you've got to advertise, you've got to market somehow. So I think it's about balance. It's about finding a happy medium. It's about putting things in place so that you are not a slave to your phone, and that your slave is just a tool, which is the way it was always supposed to be. So thank you for listening. I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.